Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian VanderBeek.
Hi, welcome to another season of Stanislaus Football Weekly. I'm Joe, this is Brian, and this is our 41st season of SFW, which means we are the only internet show that predates the internet.
Predates Frank and Al Gore then, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. Hey, Brian, before we merge out into traffic, what do? We check our rearview mirror.
That's
so
right.
Before we start the 2014 season, let's look back to 2013. Our two biggest stories of the year were?
The rushing chase for the all-time rushing title and Central Catholic football.
Correct. And let's not forget Manteca football.
Can't forget Manteca football. That was a great run to the NorCal championship game and about a fumble away from advancing to a bowl.
That's right. They were inches away. And Central Catholic, of course, won its second consecutive state championship. Do we think those teams have the chops to do it again this year?
Oh, we'll see. Central Catholic obviously moving into Manteca's league. It's going to be tough. Obviously, once Central Catholic gets through the VOL, if they do, they'll be going into different playoffs than Manteca and Oakdale and all the other VOL contenders. So we'll see what happens then. But I don't think either team is as balanced as they were last year, but we'll get more into that later.
Well, since we're talking about two VOL teams, let's
Okay.
look at the VOL for 2014. We've got Manteca. Now we've got Central Catholic. Can't forget Oakdale.
Right.
Who do you think's the favorite here?
Well, I think we first should look at Central Catholic, and I have spoken with Roger Canepa, their coach, 3 or 4 times about this. My concern with Central Catholic is that they're going to be a regular Central Catholic team, which is a great level, and a level that can compete in the VOL or any other league we
Sure.
have. Central Catholic this year, like most years, is going to have 33 players on the roster, 33, 34, 35 players. That means they play 17 or 18. That
Right.
means that 6, 7, 8 guys go both ways.
2 ways. Sure.
Yeah.
That's a lot in the VOL.
You just can't do that in the VOL. Oakdale maybe have 3 kids going both ways. Manteca may have 2 or 3 kids going both ways. It's just a step up in physicality from where they've been in the WAC week after week after week. Because it's not just Oakdale, it's not just Manteca, but Kimball will hit you. Weston Ranch will hit you. Sierra certainly will hit you. It's just a step up week after week. Attrition, I think, is going to be a major factor for Central Catholic. If they can survive physically in the VOL, I think they'll do well.
Having said that, who do you like?
Oh boy, that's tough. I think you got to go with Oakdale. I think.
I agree.
I think the
Oakdale's my pick.
Even with a down year for them last year, they were able to win a playoff game. Make it to that game at Sacramento High. What a great setting for that. The Oakdale people will disagree incredibly with me about that because they had seating for about 200 people in a Saturday afternoon at Sac High. But I loved the setting. They showed they can. This last year's group of young Mustangs showed they can compete at that level,
right.
and I think that carries over to this year. So
I think they're a lot bigger this year. I think that's going to play into their favor this year.
yeah.
Okay, moving on to the WAC, which Central Catholic vacated under section realignment. What do you see the big story being this year? Who do you like? Players to watch? What do you think?
I haven't given a close look to players to watch. You can probably fill me in on that, but Central's departure from the WAC leaves Patterson. It's got to be Patterson's league to win, but you just don't know about Pacheco, the up-and-coming program in that league, whether they're going to be able to make that step up to compete with Patterson for the league title. But Central's departure from that league just throws it wide open.
I agree. I saw Patterson scrimmage last weekend, and they looked really good. In fact, if you had to ask me today who I would consider for our player of the year, long way away, but DeMario Hammonds is a wonderful player. 2-way player for Patterson, defensive back, wide receiver, a real talent.
Yeah,
real talent.
It's tough for a wide receiver to be a player of the year. They've got to get him the ball.
They've got to get the ball.
Yeah.
This kid makes impact.
Yeah.
Pacheco, though, has returning 1,000-yard rusher in Frank Ginda, 6'1", 230 pounds. They've got another 6'1", 230-pounder in, let me get this right, Kalame Kamoku. And then, of course, their quarterback is returning, Jawan Epperson. So they're a very talented team. I think it's going to be between Patterson, Pacheco. I like Patterson to come out on top.
Yeah, I do too. I'll get to see them week 1 at Escalon. That'll be a nice measuring stick for both teams there.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Escalon, let's move into the TVL.
Yeah.
We've got Hillmar, a talented team. Again, they've got a lot coming back, including Jonathan O'Brien, their very talented quarterback. They were section finalists last year, lost to Central Catholic. Who else do you see? being a contender there.
Well, I actually did the preview for the section that's coming out this week, and the coaches are picking Ripon. The coaches are picking Ripon, then Hillmar, then Escalon in that order. And that tells you how strong the top of this conference is going to be. Ripon, with junior quarterback Nick Price coming back, throwing the ball. Ryan Fugit coming back to run the ball. They've lost a lot of talent off that team.
They did.
But they're reloading, and they've got the basis of a veteran line with Matt Kaiser and Robert Taylor to build behind. And I just like the whole vibe in Ripon right now with the advances they made to the stadium there. There's no dust at Ripon High anymore. They used to be the king of dust bowls. No longer. They've done a wonderful job with community support and redoing that stadium. And I just think this is Ripon's year.
Remember 2 years ago we thought Ripon had a team of the century, and then they came back and were even better last year.
Yeah.
They could be even better this year.
I think
they
so.
lose Michael Izzett, their 1,700-yard running back. Big Cody Day on the defensive line,
Right.
but Price returns. 20 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions last year.
Yeah, you mentioned Jonathan O'Brien at Hillmar. He's been throwing to Jake Smith and Hudson Harris. Hillmar obviously is going to be very balanced, but because they can throw the ball, they'll never be out of the game. Escalon is always about the running game.
Never forget about Escalon.
Christian May and Brandon Grogan going to be carrying the majority of the load in the running game and the workload in that wing T offense.
Up next, let's look at the Modesto Metro Conference. But before we do, I had a chance to speak with head coach Jeremy Pla of Downey High. Let's take a listen to what he had to say. Coach, Downey High is the runaway preseason favorite in the MMC. How do you feel about that?
I think it's really early to tell. I think we got 5 weeks before we start league. I think that, we're going to try to beat Pittman this week. That's what we're going to focus on.
Is it something that you don't want to talk about, or does it put a bigger target on your back?
I think that whenever you're winning and you have, a couple league titles, I think you have to learn how to be the hunted instead of being the hunters. And we've talked to our kids about that. But we just have to get better every single day. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're favorites or if you're dead last. You have to try to get better on a daily basis. And playing teams like Pittman is going to do that.
Speaking of getting better, your quarterback, P.J. Wilson, this year, I've seen him a couple times. He looks really good. Last year, you came into the season with the position kind of unsettled with Logan Cody.
Yeah.
This year, P.J. is the guy.
PJ's the guy. He's got a good arm. He's got great feet, and he's a leader above everything else. So I think that's the best part about it.
So, Brian, Jeremy Pla is a little reluctant to embrace the favorites role in the MMC, but
that's okay. We'll make them the favorite anyway.
And they are.
And they are.
They are.
The other coaches believe that way. I mean, Grigori building a very solid program, very slow, not very slowly. They've only been a varsity team for 3 years now.
Correct.
But building a program there with the facilities and the basis of all those Salida athletes that are filling that program. Modesto is going to be very much improved, despite losing the great quarterback Tiki Tonga to graduation.
And LaShawn and Lavelle Collins, the twins, who were uber talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it lines up, Enoch, Bayer, Davis, Johansson.
Well, I like Downey to win the league.
Yeah.
They've got last year the quarterback position was unsettled coming into the year. It's firmly established. P.J. Wilson is the guy this year.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of size up front. I think they're justified in being the clear favorite. Grigori is up there, and Modesto High. People think Modesto High is still a force.
Mm-hmm.
I think they lost a lot of key playmakers, but they do have Antonio Perez coming back, their 1,000-yard rusher. Grigori has, I think, who might be a player who might be the breakout player of the season, Demetrius Vincent, 6'1", 195, scored off the charts at the Spark Combine up in Oakland last May. He's a player to watch. But this is Downey's year.
Okay, let's stay with the big schools then and go into the CCC. And when you talk about the CCC, you talk about Tyrone Williams, you talk about your Merced Bears.
My Merced, my alma mater. Hey, a real profile kid, Tyrone Williams, 6'4", 200, strong arm, can run with the ball. Didn't do a lot of running last year. He likes to stay in the pocket, but I think Merced is going to try to get him out and use his legs a little more this year. He's a real threat. They've also got running back Jabbar Bird. It's going to make them really a potent offense, and I like Merced to win that conference.
Well, right behind Merced and kind of the feeling of our staff and also the feeling of the coaches is that if a team is going to challenge Merced, it's going to be Turlock.
I think so. They started the year 4-1 last year, finished 1-4. They lose Sean Downs. They lose Javon Hogan, their running back. They lose Patrick Green, the talented tight end, but they do look like they have a lot of size this year, and they're going to be a threat.
And then behind Turlock, we're probably looking at Buhack, Colony, Atwater, Pittman, and Golden Valley. Maybe in that order, maybe not in that order. It's all of course going to play out. Before we move on, I'd like to mention that in Thursday's Modesto B, we'll have our annual Pigskin preview, our preview of the season, and in that you'll find a league-by-league breakdown of all the leagues in our area, and inside that we'll have a team-by-team capsules with players to watch, key players that have graduated from the program, key newcomers, all-time records of these coaches. It's a lot of information.
Coaches polls,
yeah. It's a lot of information in one special section, and of course that's an annual thing, and that's going to come out in Thursday's Modesto B. So don't miss that. That's going to be something you want to keep around for a long time. Moving on, let's go into the Southern League. And interesting thing to me about the Southern League is that the two top teams in this league from last year and for the last few years, LeGrand and Ripon Christian, both are going into the season with new coaches. But that's a little bit of a different situation because in LeGrand, Rick Martinez has moved on to the staff at Golden Valley. But the staff remains pretty much intact at the Grand. His hometown, homegrown staff is still there. So there's continuity there. I'm not sure the same can be said at Ripon Christian. They've had a turnover there, and Randy Fasani, the really talented former Stanford Del Oro High quarterback, moved back up to the Del Oro area, and there's a new coach at Ripon Christian. And while LeGrand and Ripon Christian are probably still the two teams to beat, it'll be interesting to see if there's any drop-off with these coaching staffs.
Well, like you mentioned, Raul Alvarez, the offensive coordinator at LeGrand, he's moving up, so there is some real continuity there. As far as Ripon Christian is concerned, they're promoting junior varsity coach Trey Ozenbaugh to the top spot. So it should be a similar transition, but I don't know if it's going to be as smooth as it will be in LeGrand. LeGrand, the four-time reigning section champions, they're going to feel the heat hard from Mariposa this year.
Yeah,
Mariposa is loaded.
The coaches poll has Mariposa winning it this year, followed by LeGrand, Ripon Christian, and then probably Waterford.
You mentioned Ripon Christian and LeGrand both lose coaches. They both also lose 2,000-yard rushers. And Ryan Martinez, Rick's son, and Andrew Brown, who set the all-time district record, 2,781 yards and 55 touchdowns. That's a load of production to replace.
That might hurt. That might hurt.
A bit.
Let's move into the Mother Lode League, and the overwhelming story in the Mother Lode League is the move of Sonora High, the longtime VOL challenger, into this smaller schools league for a lot of reasons. Sonora has decreasing enrollment. It's actually not even the biggest team in the Mother Lode League. Calaveras is. And the Mother League coaches fought it, but the realignment committee eventually sided with Sonora and said, okay, Sonora's in the Mother Lode League, deal with it.
And Sonora was your league that you covered. Sonora is the coaches poll pick?
Oh, easily. They're saying that Sonora, this may be, the timing of Sonora out of the VOL comes at a time when Sonora could have its best team in 6 or 7 years. So the coaches are saying, having said that though, Calaveras did beat Sonora last year, and apparently Sonora had 6 or 7 turnovers in that game, but nevertheless, Calaveras beat them, and then came down the next week and got absolutely smashed by Modesto Christian.
Right.
And which, just a turnaround, we just really don't understand. But having said that, a couple players at Sonora to look for: Billy Karolick, obviously the stud running back, linebacker. Look out for the sophomore Brad Canepa. Now he's the nephew of Central Catholic coach Roger Canepa. So all of you who think Roger Canepa is a great recruiter at Central Catholic can't even recruit his own nephew. So there you go. There you go. But the coaches poll at the Mother Lode League has Sonora, followed by Calaveras, Amador, Argonaut, Somerville, Bret Hart, and Linden. Another thing to watch for at the Mother Lode League coming up here in the next couple of years is the possible merger of Amador and Argonaut. If that happens, you'll have Sonora, Calaveras, and the new Amador-Argonaut combined school with enrollments around 800 or 900, and then the severe drop-off to Somerville, Bret Hart, Linden. Really a league of haves and have-nots, very equally divided there.
I'm going to go with Calaveras in this. I like Jason Weatherby. I've seen his team play this year. I really like what he does. Calaveras is my pick. Sonora's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, Sonora to win that. We can move on to the CCA here, and we have Big Valley Christian locally, but
And Turlock Christian now. They've been moved in.
Stone Ridge Christian down in Merced, but when you're talking about the CCAA, you're talking about Brookside
Christian. Yeah.
Defending was that D6 champion?
Correct.
Yeah, Division 6 champion. They beat Ripon Christian by a touchdown in a very good game at the Great Bowl last
That
year.
was Bradshaw Christian.
I'm sorry, but that was
2 years ago, Brookside Christian.
I stand corrected. That's right. It was.
Watch it big.
Yeah, that's right. It was Bradshaw Christian. I was at that game and don't even remember. But yeah, Brookside Christian out of Stockton is the CCAA team to beat, and for a while.
Coming up this week.
We've got
Friday.
picks. We've got
football
picks.
season starts.
Wow, already. We've got some picks. We've got some big games that we're going to cover. So I'm going to just hit with these out of the blue now.
Bring it.
No advanced coaching here. We're going to start with a game that I'm going to be looking forward to this. Patterson at Escalon.
That is going to be a good
great
game.
opener.
That is a great opener. I'm going to go with Patterson. I've seen Patterson. I love quarterback Damian Paulo. I told you about Hammonds. Patterson looks mean.
Yeah, I like Escalon in this game for a couple reasons. A, it's at Escalon, and the field at Lloyd Engle is going to be high and right. It'll be like U.S. Open rough and soft and slow. And Patterson is used to obviously being on field turf. Also, because I like to go with system teams early in the season, and Escalon with its wing tee. These kids are running the wing tee since they're in 4th grade. They know it. It may be new to be playing it on the varsity level, but they have this breadth of knowledge that is 4, 5, 6, 7 years old already. It's nothing's new to them in the offensive system. That's why I go with Escalon in this game. Downey versus Pittman at Turlock High.
Pittman was the team in the CCC last year. They're going to be down this year. They lost a lot. I'm going to go with Downey. My choice to win it all in the MMC.
I'm going with Downey too. My reservation there is that passing games, as opposed to system running attacks. Passing games take time to develop. Now we have P.J. Wilson.
And P.J. Wilson, I trust.
Yeah, but he's breaking in some wide receivers here, and they've got to find space. And Pittman is always athletic, so we'll see how that breaks out. I still do like Downey in this game.
Attaboy.
Turlock versus Enox at Downey High.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Turlock in this one. I think Turlock is really big, really physical, and that's what I like early in the season.
Yeah. For the same reasons, I go with Turlock in this one also. Enox, really an unknown. The fact that they're picked to finish by the coaches who tend to know these things, 4th in the MMC, this just looks like a pretty solid chance for Turlock to come out a win. Again, Turlock picked to finish 2nd in the CCC. A rivalry game, one of the great rivalry games we have, and it's so strange to think that it's going to be played in August this year. But
instead of November.
Yeah, Sonora at Oakdale.
Week 1, that just sounds weird.
It's week 0, actually.
Well, week 0, correct.
Yeah. Our week 1, week 0, we always struggle with that.
I'm going to go with Oakdale.
Yeah.
Whether it's week 0, week 1, whatever, I like Oakdale. Oakdale's going to have a big season.
I like Oakdale in this game, too. Even though this may be Sonora's best team in 6 or 7 years, like we said, coming down the hill to play at Oakdale, certainly Sonora's going to want to prove that it still belongs in the VOL, even if it's not going to be playing in the VOL.
Absolutely.
I do think that as this rivalry continues, we'll see Oakdale winning this game by wider and wider margins as Sonora's measuring stick becomes the rest of the Mother Lode League and not the VOL schedule. This is an argument I've had with Sonora Athletic Director, not an argument, discussion I've had with Sonora Athletic Director Rick Francis for a lot of years. I said, I know why you're going into the MLL. I just don't see it being, in the long run, beneficial for your programs, just from a quality standpoint. But I like Oakdale in this game. It could be close, 21-14, something like that. Sierra at Ripon. This is a very intriguing first week game.
Sierra had Jake Pruitt last year, one of the best quarterbacks we've seen around here in a long time.
Yeah.
38 touchdowns, just 7 picks, but he's gone, and I'm going to go with Ripon.
I'm going with Ripon at home. They're dedicating not the new stadium, but the improvement to the stadium this week. This is almost a statement game for Ripon early. Get the big bully coming over from Manteca, and
Plus, you're a Ripon grad. I mean,
I can't go. Well, that's the main thing. See, I was going to mention that the main thing I'm picking Ripon is that I never pick against Ripon, and the same thing applies to the next game, which is Modesto at Series.
Series High. I love their quarterback, Brad Bessard. He threw for nearly 3,000 yards last year, but I think Modesto is just going to be a little too athletic, a little too physical.
I think that's a difference too, and also because my sons went to Modesto High, so I can't pick against the Panthers because of that. Wow, so that's it.
That's it. We've done it.
That's
Our
it.
first SFW is in the books.
So the first episode of the 41st year of Stanislaus Football Weekly
That's right.
is in the books, and so for Joe Cortez, I'm Brian VanderBeek. Go out and have a great football weekend.
Thanks for joining us this week, and don't forget to check out all of our great content at modbee.com. On Tuesday, join Joe Cortez for his weekly chat. Wednesday, we've got Stanislaus Football Weekly, and on Friday, we've got live scoring updates during the game, and then after, join us for our post-game podcasts, game videos and interviews, photo galleries, and great stories from our talented group of reporters.